Episode 132. Being back here at the Thaumaturgist Guild, I guess what kind of started everything? Maybe Komori thinks she probably has to get back to her real job soon. All of the escapism and comedy from Hildebrand was only ever going to be a temporary thing, wasn't it? Let's keep the ride going a little bit longer though. Arsenis Ossuary is a sacred structure where mortals may seek the favor of Thal, arbiter of the afterlife. For in death, we must all abide by Thal's final evaluation of our existence. Those deemed to have led lives of richer value are rewarded, with greater comfort for their eternal souls. I urge you to consider making a donation and enhancing your virtue, thus ensuring a golden paradise for your time in the realm beyond. The money grubbing aside, not Thal. I guess we're kind of spitting in that guy's face. That used to be Komori's, what would you call it? Guardian, until I changed that with a Fantasia or whatever. Maybe that guy's not too happy with how we did that, and is punishing us. Or we're punishing ourselves. Godspeed good, you're the adventurer who saved me back at the ruins. Researching the ancient feud between Ul'dah and Sildir, are you? Why, I'm pleased to say that I have more than a passing familiarity with ancient history. Oh yeah, she recognizes us, and I didn't recognize her. That's Nanako. She's the sister of the two brothers at the, the Miners Guild. I think this was part of one of the hard mode dungeons for, what was it, Karn? Must have been. It makes sense that she would be one of the people that we talked to. I'm just surprised she's here at the Thaumaturgist Guild. To understand the history of the sibling nations, one must go back further still, to the birth of their mother nation, Belladia. The Fifth Astral Era was an age of untold wonders, when the arcane arts burgeoned and the great civilizations that commanded such powers flourished. This age of enlightenment would not last, however. Power bred avarice, and avarice bred resentment. It culminated in the War of the Magi, I think. Magi? Which brought the great floods of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, which in turn swallowed once proud nations, and left a battered wasteland in its wake. Mages were reviled and persecuted for having caused this catastrophe, with many forced to leave their homelands or face death. It was a small band of those survivors that found their way to Thanalan, where they would found the nation of Belladia some 8 centuries agone. Ah, imagine, a government of mages, by mages, and for mages. What wonders might have been wrought had Belladian civilization survived to this very day? Alas, this was not to be. They say that the Thief of Many Faces is collecting the 4 relics of ancient Belladia. Do you suppose he'd be kind enough to show them to me when he's done? Even a cursory glance at them would do wonders for my research. Fun to bring that character back. Are you allowed to cheat death if you pay enough money to Thal? Does he accept bribes? Is it a coincidence that Ul'dah is like a nation of money-grubbing Lalafell and, I guess, whoever else? Is there actually some kind of lore where having enough money lets you do that sort of thing? I've got 770,000 gil to my name, but I always feel like I need more. Maybe that's just something all Lalafell are built in with. A need for money. Knowledge is power, and surely our thaumaturge friends have a wealth of knowledge on the feud between Ul'dah and Sildir. Let us begin our inquiry. You don't say. It's not every day someone comes to our halls to research Sildir. As a fellow student of history, though, I more than welcome the conversation. Belladian civilization flourished in relative peace, until twin sons were born to the royal family. The two were fierce rivals, and when they came of age and their father passed, each one claimed that he was the rightful heir to the throne. With neither son willing to relinquish his claim, they agreed to split their kingdom in two, forming the twin nations of Ul'dah and Sildir. But not unlike two proud princes, the sibling nations developed a penchant for rivalry. If Palladian civilization had flourished to this day, what wonders might have been achieved? But there is little to be gained from lamenting the past. Greetings, traveler. You would learn of the war between Ul'dah and the fallen Sultanate of Sildir. It would be my pleasure to enlighten you. The two city-states coexisted for several generations, until the bad blood between them boiled over, culminating in outright war. As you might deduce from the present state of affairs, Ul'dah emerged victorious, leaving its once proud sibling nation in smoldering ruins. As the histories tell it, the battle fought between the sister nations were the stuff of nightmares. In a desperate attempt to overcome Ul'dah's superior numbers, Sildian alchemists devised a most horrific stratagem. Employing a frightful formula known as the Traitor's Spurn, they brought their fallen warriors back as undead soldiers. Some theories have it that they even employed the potion on those of the living who were too weak or wounded to fight. Sends shivers up the spine just thinking about it, no? It is truly a crowning glory of our fair nation that our forebears were able to emerge victorious against these horrors. The mere thought of a nation turning its own citizens into mindless zombies. While I am loath to speak ill of the fallen, I can only conclude that the prospect of losing the war drove the Sildians stark staring mad. Never heard that one. I've heard stark raving, but not stark staring. Notably, this is one of those quest steps where you can just talk to people in any order, but quite clearly, I think, quite clearly, they want you to go in a linear order from the entrance to here. The quest designers bear in mind the direction that players come in when approaching these, so I think they have a specific way they want them to interact with NPCs, because the way that we just did, which I believe is the intended way, is telling the story in a linear fashion. The founding of Eladia, and then Ul'dah and Sildir, and then the fall of Sildir, and this is probably going to be the epilogue or something. Our old guildmaster. I guess he's still our guildmaster? Not really. Komoy, don't surprise me like that. What's this? You're here not for your studies, but to learn of the bad blood between Ul'dah and Sildir. Two scales, one of gold and one of silver. The gold of Ul'dah, weighing power, prosperity, and power. The silver of Sildir, weighing knowledge and power. But the power sought by the two nations differed greatly. Yes, greatly indeed. The power wrought by Ul'dah prosperity was that of justice and good, while the power wrought by Sildian knowledge was horrific beyond belief. The power to rip the living soul out of a man and render him a mindless killing machine. On this matter, the histories are clear, but riddle me this, friend. Who writes the histories, and what does this say of the words writ within? Yes, truth can be elusive and fickle as the shifting sands. As one example, did you know that in the war against Sildir, Ul'dah and Amaljan warriors fought side by side? Likely you did not, and neither did I, until I encountered a faded passage in an ancient text buried deep in our archives. And yet, in the histories read by the populace, you will see no mention of this most fascinating fact. Might it be that someone, at some time, deemed this particular truth less than convenient? But I have said enough already. Interesting. The silver scales. Frankly, knowledge sounds much more useful to Komoy than money. Maybe money might help you cheat death, but knowledge is probably way better at that. Read well the histories, but never forget who it is that writes them. That is my advice to you. Forbidden knowledge, forbidden knowledge. Komoi is excited by forbidden knowledge. Even if she can't read. My ever-loyal associate, tell me, what have you learned from your questioning of the scholars in these halls? Forbidden knowledge. Indeed, as it happens, I have learned much the same. Let us take a moment to review, and allow my peerless powers of deduction to work their magic. A war of succession divides the great civilization of Belladia, giving rise to the sibling nations of Ul'dah and Sildir. The two nations coexist for some generations, until ill blood boils over, culminating in outright war. I'm surprised Hildebrand has enough sense to actually put that whole history together. He had trouble remembering basic facts in the past few mysteries. Daunted by Ul'dah's superior military might, Sildir employs their advanced alchemical knowledge to horrific ends, transforming their own citizens, alive and dead, into a fearsome undead legion. Yes, I believe I have it. The facts at hand have led me to one unassailable conclusion. The Phantom Thief is a descendant of doomed Sildir, who seeks vengeance against those who reduced his countrymen to slavering zombies. To pacify his soul and send him peacefully to the next world, there is but one course of action. We must find the Sildin statesman who conceived this dreadful stratagem, and have him apologize to the thief in person for the suffering he has wrought. Okay, there we go. There's Hildebrand's usual sense. A brilliant plan. Perhaps you'd like to go find yourself a shovel and dig this statesman out of his grave yourself? Leaving aside this nonsense of spirits and specters, it appears increasingly likely that our quarry shares some link to Sildir. His garish garb is no doubt meant to evoke the silver scales of the fallen Sultanate. Really? I guess so, yeah. He is silver, huh? I see the receptionist, I think Yayakawa was her name, kind of staring at us. We are kind of loitering about. This Sildin connection would also serve to explain the rare knowledge of Belladian relics our thief clearly possesses. But what of the murder victims? What common thread amongst them could have incurred the ire of our adversary? A few people in town spoke of a man sighted calling upon the victims in past days. Those who saw him said he had a most frightening air about him. Wait, yes, it's coming to me. Of course. My keen investigator senses ring out with a voice loud and clear. This man Miss Ellie speaks of just might know something. You really should stop thinking so hard. You're like to strain a brain muscle. Miss Ellie, who is this man and where might we find him? My sources identified the man as Guguria, a traveling merchant known to frequent Horizon. Shall we pay him a visit? Sorry for all the loitering, Yayake. Did Belladia, when it was once whole, also worship Naldal? Actually, that's a thing, isn't it? How Nald and Dal are like twin things, and then Belladia split into the twin states of Ul'dah and Sildir, similar to Naldal. I don't remember the exact reasoning. It might have been something that I already heard while playing as Komoi, or it could even be something that I'm remembering from my main character from later on. But those two are related somehow. Or it's just like poetry It rhymes, or something like that. My keen instinct tells me that Master Guguria's testimony will be key to a monumental breakthrough in our investigation. Yes, I shall employ the ancient Manderville art of parley to skillfully extract the information we require. Yes, if you've got business, make it quick. My time's too valuable to waste chatting with every stranger who passes by. Forgive us, good sir. My name is Ellie, a reporter with a mitral eye. Never blinking, all-seeing, you know the rest. I was wondering if we could trouble you with just a few questions. Was it for love or money that you killed them? Yes, you, the thief of many faces. Me? A thief? What nonsense is this? I don't know who you are, but I ain't got the time or the patience for this mummery. Now if you'll excuse me, an important client awaits. I thought I recognized that voice. Oh, it's Lady Dorilda. Lady Dorilda, well met indeed. Pray tell whatever brings you to these environs this fair evening. Does that line change if it's like morning or something? I guess it is night, so... Why, I live here, you half-headed half-wit, or ham-headed half-wit. Inspector Byardian, this is an unexpected pleasure. Do you have some business with my associate here, pray tell? So she lives here, huh? I thought she lived over in... Vesper Bay, in that one house. Maybe she was just using it as a meeting place? Guguria, we can discuss business after. Pray lend the inspector here, the handsome one, whatever assistance he requires. What, Lady Dorilda? What about... Ah yes, my dear Maria's name day present. I had in mind one of the prize pieces of Estame's latest seasonal collection. You would be able to procure one for me, yes? Or shall I eliminate the middleman, and make the trip to Uldal myself? I'll say it just once more, Guguria. I expect you to give the inspector and his companions your full assistance. They, yes, even the stupid one, helped me regain something truly priceless. Yes, something more valuable than any mere trinket. Bringing back all of the bit players. It's nice. Alright. I'll tell you what I know. But you didn't hear it from me, got it? I was looking into the killing on behalf of a certain client of mine. The thief's got himself some of that zombie dust, the traitor's sperm, was it? And his cards speak of 5 victims. It got me to thinking. Still there? 5 victims. Aye, the Arbiters of Truth. The Arbiters of Truth? I'm not familiar with the name. Aye, few would be, on account of them being something of a secret society and all. Influential personages of the Sultanate, you see, working from the shadows to keep false knowledge about the Uldar-Sildin conflict from reaching the ears of folk like you and me. False knowledge? Pray tell, just what sort of knowledge might that be? Forbidden knowledge, forbidden knowledge. Dolls balls, don't make me say no more. I've got a family to feed. Very well. Just tell us one last thing. Who hired you? And where can we find him? Hob. His name's Hob. When he heard what I said, he told me he was going to set sail for Limsa with his 5 best sellswords to guard his back. Said there were many prying eyes at the airship docks. Said he had a private ship, docked and waiting for him at Vesper Bay. But remember, you didn't hear none of this from me. This man Hob must be one of the killer's targets. Doubtless he also knows the identity of the remaining ones. I doubt that. They say the Arbiters are so secretive, they don't even know each other's true identities. Now don't ask me how that all works, but Hob's got high-ranking friends in the Brass Blades. Once he heard the victims had been all zombified, he panicked. Guess he knew that he'd be next. Thank you very much, my kind sir. Once again, the ancient Manderville art of parley has procured for us a key morsel of knowledge. Let us seek out this hob fellow and see what he can share with us, and let us hurry. The man's life is in danger even as we speak. I would hear what this hob fellow has to say. Come, my ever-loyal associate, let us away to Vesper Bay with all speed. I could use one of my teleportation tickets that I still have well over 60 of or so. But I do like taking this little road here. After they upgraded the visuals, it's really quite beautiful. I guess it was beautiful before, but even more so now. Oh, I guess we're supposed to be here anyway. Master Hob, is everything quite alright? No, stand back, Ellie. Hunger. I hunger for your brains. Damn, there's no saving the man. Komoy, do what you must. Yes, my first-hand knowledge of zombies tells me that this particular shade of green is unmistakably that of the undead. 'Twould seem we were a few moments late to the scene. The whole brains thing, is that normal for zombies? Or is that just a joke? This whole questline mixes together real, actual Final Fantasy XIV lore with Ul'dah, Silda, and Belladia and all that, with also Hildebrand's usual hijinks, so it's hard to say if these zombies are... how much of them are jokes and how much of them are real. Maybe it's all canon. Maybe they were craving brains even in the war between Ul'dah and Silda. A message. And then there was one. There it is again. Is something the matter, Inspector? Indeed, Noshu, there is. Ever since I picked up the trail of the Phantom Thief, I've had this fleeting sense. The sense that someone, or something, is watching us. The thief might be close at hand. We should be careful. For the moment, let us return and report our findings to Miss Felice. Secret society or no, knowing the identities of its members may yet lead us to the final victim. I too had best return to the Mitchell Eye. Let's meet up again after... I'll see what new clues I can uncover in the meantime. You will do nothing of the sort, Miss Ellie. These streets are far too dangerous for you to walk alone. Inspector, I'll go with her. If you insist, Noshu, then I give my leave. But pray be wary. Not just of the thief, but of Miss Ellie. She has quite the temper, as we both know. What's the matter, Briardian? Miss Ellie, there is something I must tell you when this case is over. Be safe, and promise me that you will not attempt anything rash, as you did that time when the fiend took aim at my own life. Your life, Head Costa del Sol. Yes, that was quite the ordeal, wasn't it? Fun times. I'll be careful, I promise. I eagerly await the day when I may hear what it is you would share with me. A secret vow? Oh ho, consider my interest piqued as well, good inspector. Now let us be off. Miss Felice awaits our report. Definitely feels like it's almost time to say goodbye. Some shifty-looking fellow was I in the vaults before, but he took off faster than a fleeing cactar as soon as my gaze met his. Just like I cowed many a guardian on the plains it's you. The news of Hobbs' death will not sit well with Miss Felice, but a gentleman must do what a gentleman must do. A fourth victim? Have mercy. Were you able to glean aught of a connection to the other victims? The arbiters of truth? No, it cannot be. Somebody, help! Miss Ellie, the voice came from the direction of the vault. We must hurry. Miss Ellie, are you hurt? That man, I only thought to ask him a few questions. Before I knew what was happening, he was upon me. I could only... Bash his brains with a conveniently placed bottle of mead, it would seem. Haha, remind me not to get on your bad side, Miss Ellie. That said, is Noshu not with you? She saw a figure lurking in the shadows, and went off in pursuit before I could stop her. This man wears the armor of the Sultan's sworn squire, yet his face is unfamiliar to me. Something is amiss. The thief of many faces? To think we would find our man like this. Twice and again did the fiend elude our grasp, but no more, by virtue of a gentleman's ingenious deductions, and a lady's pugilistic puissance. I declare this case closed. Wow, what a climactic ending to the whole questline. I return this sachet to you, Miss Felice. Whilst the gesture was appreciated, in the end it proved superfluous to my cracking of the case. While you're at it, is there anything else of immense value that you'd like to wantonly destroy? Scooby-Doo. What is the meaning of this? Ingenious. A double disguise. Planted by the thief to throw us off his trail, no doubt. This is Guige, one of my most capable men. I asked him to guard the vault, and outfitted him with an ample supply of demasking dust. It is inconceivable that the thief could so easily elude his grasp. Unless the thief was not wearing a mask. Speaking of which, has anyone seen Miss Ellie? No, that's impossible. Of course, it all makes perfect sense. With the Phantom Thief to thank for her burgeoning readership and rise through the ranks at the Mistful Eye, Miss Ellie could not bear to face the possibility of her story of a lifetime coming to an end. Thus she hatched a plan to... My lady, the vault has been breached. The wise men's whisper. It's gone. For her foul crimes against the Sultanate, I hereby declare Ellie of the Mitral Eye, the thief of many faces, an enemy of the state. Deploy all troops, and do not rest until she is in custody. We've seen the two together, though, in the same scene. And now the game is truly afoot. Bah, what is the meaning of all this racket and rumpus? And just as we were about to make our triumphant return, isn't that so, Enkidu? At least I think we've seen them in the same place at the same time, right? I actually don't remember. I don't remember how this goes, and I don't remember if I've seen them together at the same time. Miss Ellie? Miss Ellie? That shadow you said you saw, I think it was just a dormouse. To think he'd literally stumble face first onto the second mask. His good fortune truly knows no end. But not to worry. Yes, I dare say the Phantom Thief has another trick or two up his sleeve. How could we have been so blind? When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable. My ever-loyal associate, we must find Miss Ellie and quickly. Surely if confronted by her constant companions, she can still be convinced to abandon this fool plan. Oh, Miss Felice, I thought you had already departed in the company of your men, but all for the better. Shall we conduct a search together? I fear that would only put them at greater risk. You see, the fifth and final member of the Arbiters of Truth, the Phantom Thief's final target, is none other than Hildebrand Mander. Me. Mind you, it is not a role I sought of my own accord. My name and my passion for history are somewhat well known in the Sultanate. One day I received an anonymous letter stating that a position in the committee had been opened, and I had been chosen to fill it. The letter went on to enumerate my duties, to prevent the spread of historical lies that would sully the name of our illustrious nation. As a high-ranking officer of the Sultan's Horn, I was deemed to be in a particularly unique position to serve as an arbiter. I knew that there were other members of the organization, but was told nothing of their names or identities. To think that my unknown compatriots were the victims all along. I cannot put any more lives in danger. I will sequester myself in a place where my presence can cause no harm, until such time as the killer is apprehended. Your concern for our well-being is most touching, Miss Felice, but there is no need for such caution. As a seasoned inspector, I am more than capable of protecting a lady in distress, and as a gentleman, that is exactly what I shall do. My associates here also stand by your side. Speaking of which, has anyone seen my loyal assistant? Inspector, over here. Ah, there you are, Noshu. You really shouldn't run off on your own like that. I was worried sick about you. I'm sorry, Inspector. Miss Ellie said she saw somebody in the shadows, so I went to take a look. Now there wasn't anything there but a dormouse, but it was a really cute dormouse, you see. It just kept squeaking and scurrying away, and I just... Pardon me for a moment, Noshu. Yes, my inspector's sense speaks to me. Someone is watching us. Komoi, let us split up and canvass our surroundings. Nashu? Where is Miss Ellie? Do you think she went looking for the dormouse too? If it looks like a Nashu and it sounds like a Nashu, then it's probably a Nashu. Apologies, Komoi, but I require a moment alone with my thoughts. I cannot allow my presence to put my men in danger. A water-stained letter lies conspicuously on the floor. Be wary and be warned. Okay. A water-stained letter lies conspicuously on the floor. Trust no one, and your friends all the less. A water-stained letter lies conspicuously on the floor. This will avail you well. Use it wisely. You obtain a sachet of demasking dust. In the next instant, you feel an intimidating presence behind you. Ho ho ho! If it isn't my beloved son's staunch companion, the mighty Komoi. I was in the area on a matter of business, which I curtailed when I felt a suspicious presence from the shadows. Pursuing it led me here. Mayhap it is the same for you. When Godbird arrives on the scene, the fanfare plays. It's fitting. Oh-ho. So your pursuit of the thief of many faces has taken quite the unexpected turn. And now you have come upon a series of anonymous letters. Mayhap our watcher in the shadows is a friend. Or is this but another trap laid by the fiend? Yes, the plot thickens like a dollop of salamander oil. In either event, I dare say the circumstances call for utmost caution. The thief could be anywhere, or anyone. Myself included. Excluded, of course. No mere mask could replicate the physique of this Manderville man. Not included, excluded, just another flub on my part reading the line, not implying anything. But I guess it could be him. That said, I fear my dear Hildy may be in a bit over his head this time. Allow me to assist in your investigation. Were anything to happen to Hildebrand, his dear mother would, not be pleased. And for once, we can actually talk to the guy. I actually looked it up, and there were several. I think I maybe missed half of the times this guy appeared. Maybe even more than that. He's been all over the place. Something just isn't right. What's wrong? Leave it to this guy, right? He would know better than anyone. This... Did I mention? This is Nashu's stalker. I think I mentioned that in one of the previous episodes, or maybe I just called him out. But wherever Nashu is on the scene, there's a pretty decent chance that you'll find this guy in the background, either sitting around in the world like he is now, usually most of the time, not a targetable NPC like he is now, but other times just in the background of cutscenes. Blink and you miss it kind of guy. And he dresses in pink because I guess he wants to match Noshu. I cannot allow my presence to put my men in danger. Where is Miss Ellie? Do you think she went looking for the dormouse too? No, wait, I read all of these lines, except for his. If the sender speaks true, the villain even now lurks within our midst. And yet, we have but a single sachet of demasking dust at our disposal. We must identify the imposter beyond reasonable doubt before we proceed. You know the players better than I, Komori. What say you have a few words with each of them, and see if aught seems amiss? Am I doomed to share the same fate as the others? I'd sooner die than become one of those things. Too much has happened in too short a span. I need more time to make sense of it all, but time is something we do not have. Miss Ellie is the Phantom Thief. It is the only logical conclusion, and yet I cannot help but feel that another truth still evades us. It makes no sense. There must be something we're missing. Nothing new. Inspector Briardian told me all about it. Who'd have thunk Miss Ellie was the Phantom Thief all this time? She sure fooled me. The inspector sure is taking his time. Nothing particularly odd about any of them, you say? It stands to reason. The fiend would not take such a risk if he were not utterly confident that he could pull off the ruse. Curses, this one's not half the fool his son is. I must elude him, and quickly. Time is of the essence. I questioned the Sultan sworn outside. To a man, they insist they have seen naught of Miss Ellie. Wherever could she have gone? The father, what brings you here? Yes, finally the pieces are coming together. Now if you would kindly stand still and shut up. The fiend already stands among us. Inspector Briardian, I should hope you are not doubting me. Well, I'm quite convinced that even a master impersonator would struggle to recreate your particular brand of idiocy. The fact remains that anyone here who has spent even a moment alone must be considered a suspect. The thief has proven to be highly efficient at assuming new identities. An astute observation, my gangly friend. I'd say this occasion calls for a dose or two of that powder Komori here found earlier. There wouldn't happen to be another sachet or two lying about, would there? What remains of our supply has already been distributed to the search party. But worry not. They should be reporting back within a bell's time. Time might be against me, but just you watch. I'll wiggle my way out of this, and turn you into the reeking, drooling corpse you deserve to be. I fear that is more time than we can afford, Miss Felice. Fortunately, my powers of deduction will lay the fiend's face bare within minutes. We know that, given the choice, the thief prefers to impersonate familiar personages. As Miss Ellie has had only passing interactions with my dear father, we can safely eliminate him from consideration. That leaves myself, Noshu, and Komori here. Noshu and I, in particular, have had a close and extended relationship with our suspect. I shall begin by questioning my own assistant. I assure you that none know her better than I. Brilliant reasoning as ever, Inspector. Go on, ask me anything. Of all the times for this overstuffed buffoon to start talking sense. If he asks me anything too obscure, my cover is as good as blown. My relationship with Noshu is so close, I dare say at times it is as if we share a mind. As in, between the two of you, one brain cell? If this Noshu is truly my ever-loyal assistant, she should have no trouble completing my thoughts. Ahem. I'm a Manderville. Man. Doing what only a Manderville can. They really do share the same mind. From the peaks of Coerthus to Thanalahan, Manderville. Man, you're the best, Inspector. A perfect score. You may rest easy, dear friends. This is unmistakably, unequivocably, indubitably, the true Noshu. I've never loved you more than now, you marvelous muttonhead you. Noshu, is something the matter? Just because you've picked up a few more wrinkles beneath the eyes, there's no need to avert that charming face of yours. Wrinkles? Wrinkles? Look who's talking, you crusty cretinous old... Genius Inspector? The charade is up, Miss Ellie. Miss Ellie, you look somehow different. You know, I completely forgot about this, but I think I'm starting to remember. And the guy's gone. Because Noshu isn't here, he's gone. Must have gone off in search of her. He doesn't care a whit for the mystery, not at all. Just wherever Noshu is. So the letter spoke true. The fiend was in our midst all along. My prodigious powers of deduction scream out at me. This woman knows something. Well, I guess he did detect Noshu's wrinkles, or not Noshu's wrinkles, so he was at least right about that thing. Another two-layered mask, perhaps? Mayhap? But no, this woman bears a striking resemblance to Miss Ellie. I was all but certain that Ellie was our thief. What is the meaning of this? Yeah, I was right. We saw Ellie and the thief on the same scene at the same time. A lot of the time, I think. Maybe just once. I'm thinking specifically of the wedding. That whole chase scene. Pretty sure she was there. Yeah, and they give you a glamour dispeller. That's funny. Seven hells, done in by a muscle-bound muttonhead and his motley troop of mummers. Just who are you? Your resemblance to Miss Ellie is most uncanny, and yet... Consulting Inspector Byerdian, once again, you fail to measure up to your lofty reputation. Of course we resemble each other. Ellie is, after all, my own flesh and blood, my beloved sister, and my eminently capable partner in crime. That seed was laid in the last episode, during the whole Victor's spoils thing. When we were talking about Avila and her sister, Ellie just ever so casually dropped that she had a little sister and could relate. And this is that. How clever. I even forgot about that. 1,000 faces I may wear, but only one name do I bear. You can call me Ceci. Charmed, I'm sure. Are you quite alright? Why, you look as though you've seen a ghost. Despite my moniker, I assure you that Ellie and I are no specters. What we are, mind you, are the last living scions of Sildin aristocracy. Bemused, are you? Befuddled to find two sisters behind the mask? Try using your brains once in a while. Every time you encountered the thief, Ellie was standing right in your midst. I guess they called it out. No, the thief that 4 times stole the show, oh, and those priceless relics, was me. Meanwhile, Ellie hid in plain sight, supplying me with just the knowledge I needed to stay one step ahead of my pursuers, all while spinning the hair-raising tales of my exploits that won the hearts of this nation. Wow, what a tale. Truly mystery writing. It's all played off as a joke and everything, but there really was a real mystery, and a real plot twist with Ellie and everything, which I completely forgot. This is satisfying. We owe a lot to you, truly. Why, without the tales of your hapless attempts to catch me, we never could have risen to these heights of celebrity. The thief and the reporter. What a great scheme. Miss Ceci, from a gentleman to a lady, I would ask you one thing and one thing only. Just what is it that you and Miss Ellie hope to accomplish with all of your schemes? Justice. 400 years ago, Uldan dogs reduced our great nation to a nation of zombies. At long last, the cowards that would still justify these foul deeds will suffer the same fate. Wait, the histories say that it was Sildar that turned their own men into zombies. The histories lie, and you work from the shadows, silencing those who would speak the truth. You should have died with your fellows, false arbiter. It was Ulda that ordered the creation of that dreadful powder, and wielded it as a weapon against our proud ancestors. The history of your glorious sultanate is built on a lie. What is this madness you speak, woman? Not madness, truth. The power in my possession was stolen from the Uldan army 4 centuries ago by one of my ancestors. They say it was his final act of courage, in the moments before his leg fell off and his rotting head dropped from his shoulders. This is the truth that the histories don't tell. The truth that this doe-eyed sultan sworn would kill to keep buried deep in the sands of Sanoland. But your time of reckoning is nigh. Oh yes, before long you, and everyone in this rotten nation, will know firsthand the horrors my ancestors knew. And just what do you mean by that? Oh, how the idiots lamp up the stories. A masked crusader for justice, a dashing rebel, waging battle against power and authority. Oh, if only they knew. But they will see soon enough, when they're eating each other's brains out on the streets. In the last days before our proud nation was razed to the ground, a band of the final survivors stole a vast quantity of the powder from the Uldan vaults, hiding it away in a secret vault sealed with powerful magics. The soul means by which the vault may be opened, by assembling the 4 secret relics from Baladia, 4 relics once housed in the royal palace of Sildar, before the Uldan dogs stole them and claimed them for their own. And so it dawns upon you at last. Yes, even as we speak, Ellie makes for the vault, the 4 relics safely in hand. Just think, one day you'll be able to tell your grandchildren, you were there when the zombie powder rained down on Ulda. No wait, you'll all be dead. Preposterous. But first, you, my dear. You will not even have the pleasure of looking upon the last moments of your precious homeland. Let your flesh rot like all of your rotten lies. I think not, Miss Sissy. This is a problem. Hildebrand. This is a problem for lore reasons. You idiot. Just for once, could you not get in the way? Godbert Manderville, I can't even trust your sorry arse to look after him for a day. And our mysterious shadowy figure. I knew it. That presence watching over us from the shadows. It was you, my dear wife. Ahem. Am I to understand that you are Hildebrand's mother? Aye, this is more like it. Hand to hand, skillet to skillet. It's enough to send a warrior's pulse racing. Prepare yourself, Komori. The time of our final confrontation is nigh. It took 8 people to do that last time. She did it on her own. Do you have potatoes for brains, you overstuffed buffoon? My beloved boy's been turned into a stinking corpse, if you hadn't bloody noticed. You, Komori or something, was it? Hildy's told me all about your hijinks together. Pleased to meet you. My dear boy's always had a bit of a rebellious streak. What can I say? I can come on a bit too strong at times. But can you blame me? This time I thought I'd sit back and leave things to my sorry-arse husband here. And look what that got me. You'll help me out, won't you? The fear of death. Komori feels it once more. I dare say it's quite clear who wears the pants in the family, so to speak. Inspector Hildebrand's mother. He'll be fine, right? Is he breathing? Yeah, he'll be fine. 4 corpses. I guess Julian is responsible for 3 of them. Julian, actually, we've met before. Not really, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be her, not just a lookalike. I distinctly remember the skillet. Ultros. During the last episode, when we were following him, he was out flirting with a bunch of girls. And one of the girls that he met out on the streets, which I called out, was this lady right here. And I was surprised that Hildebrand didn't call it out, but maybe he just didn't see too clearly. But it was Julian, for sure. I guess they just included her at an earlier point in time as a little bit of a foreshadowing? Not really foreshadowing, but something like that. It had to have been her because I can't conceive why that lady would have the skillet otherwise. That's actually what kind of tipped me off. Sometimes characters have similar hairstyles or clothing or something, and it's hard to tell if they're actually meant to be the same character or not. Like there are a bunch of Thancred lookalikes out there, certain NPCs, just because of the limited amount of faces and hairstyles and all that. But yeah, that was her. In any case, Komori is going to have to think about her next words to Julian carefully, lest she wind up on the floor like the rest of these people. While she does that, this is a good chance to take a break.